Hello, welcome to Hollywood Crime Scene. This is Rachel Fisher.
This is Desi Jedeikin. We're back with our final episode on Mickey Rooney. My sources, once again, for this episode are Life is Too Short by Mickey Rooney and The Life and Times of Mickey Rooney by Richard A. Lertzman. So let's see what a raffle God has in store for Mickey now. Where we left off, after his estranged wife is killed in a murder-suicide committed by her lover, Milos Milosevic, Mickey finds out that his mother has died. And Mickey is looking for a sign at this point. He is like, what I need something that to know that life is still worth living. And he got one at a casino in Lake Tahoe when a blonde busboy came up to him and said, "Mr. Rooney?" Yes. He's like, "Mr. Rooney, Jesus Christ loves you very much."
Stop it.
So Mickey is in disbelief. He sees this blonde busboy in a white jacket. And he just walks into the kitchen after saying this to him.
This is a pretty unprofessional behavior
I agree.
on that busboy's part.
Don't you think? If a busboy said that to me, I'd be like, get me a manager.
I'd say security.
So after lunch, he goes looking for this guy, but couldn't find him. So he asked the manager. He's like, "I'd like to talk to that busboy who was working our table." "Which busboy?" "The one with light blonde curls, sort of surrounded his head like a helmet." "We don't have a busboy like that. There's no boy here with blonde hair." And Mickey says, "Nah, he was just talking to me." "Well, you can go back in the kitchen and look." And he goes back and there's no boy with the hair, which is like a halo, he realizes.
Stop it.
And he said, "I've been visited by an angel. God, who am I that you should send an angel to me?"
Come on. How much had he been drinking?
Exactly. Now, this would be the beginning of Mickey's on and off again relationship with Christianity. So a few months after Barbara's death, he marries her best friend, Marge Lane. That only lasts 100 days. He's also dealing with Milos's mother, who is demanding a murder investigation be opened into the death of her son. Fortunately for Mickey, her demands are dismissed. Barbara's parents end up taking the kids off Mickey's hands because he could not deal. He is addicted to barbiturates at this point. He's a fucking mess, despite recently having the angel encounter. And they eventually will get full legal custody of these 4 kids. One day in 1967, he has the urge to call old friend Judy Garland. When he can't get her to pick up the phone, he calls a doctor friend of both of theirs called Dr. Buckley. I'm not really quite sure what kind of doctor this is, but he seems to be like a Hollywood doctor. And they actually go to her home in Brentwood and break in, and they find her naked and unconscious, but alive. So this experience convinces Mickey to check into a hospital to get off drugs. This sounds like a real cold turkey medical situation where it's not really Betty Ford Clinic or something that obviously didn't exist at that time. It's not like a rehab. This is like he goes in and they like get him off drugs in the harsh way kind of thing.
I think they would probably, don't you think they would still administer something?
I think he does get administered things to help him get through it.
But there's no after.
It's like
care.
It doesn't seem very pleasant. Not that other rehab is pleasant, but this seems particularly like old school.
There's no, it is like it's like just going to the hospital to like get safely off of drugs.
Right, not dealing with any of the psychological issues or whatever.
Right.
So he also asks God for help, and God helps him get off drugs too. So he's still kind of working in films, but he had another project he was becoming passionate about, and that was the Mickey and Judy School of Musical Comedy. He wants to open this nationwide for kids to go to learn how to be like them. Judy is not well, though. She tells Mickey she's useless. She's a has-been. No, it's not worth the time to even deal with her. She's like in that stage. But Mickey really believes in this idea, wants to get her on board because he thinks it'll be helpful for the school, but also for her. But she goes MIA, and 3 days after she goes missing, he reads that she's married Mickey Deans. This is the manager of Arthur's, which was a disco in Manhattan at the time. They go off to London because she gets an engagement at the Palladium, and he's kind of like, like once again, people just take from her like, "Hey, are you still barely alive? Are you breathing? Sign this contract, go sing." Basically, like people just don't care about her health and taking time off. She goes to this show in the Palladium, and according to him, it's a disaster. People start pelting her with tomatoes and celery.
Celery?
I've never, first of all, do you take those to a show when you're like, let me see what's going to happen? Because if she's bad, I'm throwing this celery stalk at her.
Celery? What are
I've
they?
never heard of
It's
celery.
like a Bloody Martini.
It's a Bloody Mary.
A Bloody Mary.
It's a Bloody Mary.
That's what I mean.
Maybe they brought it to make Bloody Marys. If someone threw celery at me, I'd be mad. I'm like, tomatoes are classic.
But also, don't you have to do like soft tomatoes so they really splat?
Yeah, that's anyway.
It's a lot of preparation to be a hater.
That is
theater.
pure hater. If you show up to a show with tomatoes, you're definitely like anticipating throwing them.
Yeah.
So months after this, no word from Judy. He's out golfing when someone runs up to him. He's like, Mr. Rooney, Miss Garland has died. So he gets the news on this golf cart. Obviously, this is devastating news. He says in the memoir, I walked over to the edge of the green, dropped to my knees, and pounded the ground with my fist. Why, Judy? Why? I hit the ground as hard as I could 30 or 40 times with my right hand. Then I did the same thing with my left hand. What the hell? My heart was broken. Why not my hands too? Now, this is very funny. This book I have was someone's book, and they often would write notes in the margins of this book. After he wrote this, the person who owned this book wrote bullshit. Which made me laugh out loud when I thought, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I wish there were more notes like this because this one made me laugh out loud. The other ones I was kind of like, what? Like I didn't really know what she meant.
I love that it's like this was their last straw because like they weren't it's not like they were annotating the whole book. It's just this was the final straw of Mickey Rooney's lies.
Yeah, they're like, not Judy. No,
bullshit.
Like, if you were a real friend, you would have been there. Yeah, bullshit. So I don't know why that's so fucking funny.
So good.
So I almost wasn't gonna put this in, but then I was like, I got to because I have to say bullshit line.
Glad.
It's too funny.
I'm glad.
So Mickey laments in his book that she didn't let him help her, and he is convinced that he could have been the one to save her if only she let him.
That's not true.
This is like Mark Wahlberg wishing he was on the plane on 9/11.
Seriously.
So he continues doing crap films, eventually deciding he's going to move to Florida and quit the biz after marrying his seventh wife, Carolyn Hockett, who is like 20. He's like 50s at this point. So he's in Florida, no prospects. He relies on God to help him again. And God brought him a play, Three Goats and a Blanket, that he performs at the Coconut Grove Theater. So this actually ends up being a little bit of a success, and they even tour with the play, which is good because Mickey does have a lot of alimony and child support to pay, and he has a new baby with Carolyn. So despite being number 3 on People magazine's list of most recognizable faces behind Muhammad Ali and Richard Nixon, this is what he says in the book. I was like, that's a crazy poll. Like, what does that even mean? Mickey couldn't get arrested in Hollywood, so he starts thinking about get-rich-quick schemes. He's like, I want to be like Joan Crawford.
He couldn't get arrested in Hollywood?
Yeah, that's like a saying. Like, he was like, no one was hiring him. He couldn't, like, no one wanted. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, Joan did well with Pepsi stock. Like, I need to start thinking of ways to make money outside of Hollywood. So over the years, he'd come up with dozens of money-making schemes, including one he called rip-offs. These were disposable shorts and panties for men and women who traveled and couldn't be bothered doing laundry. He also invented I don't understand why you have to rip them off. Like, just throw them away. He also invented disposable bras called tip-offs.
Come on.
He said he brought it to the people at Fruit of the Loom, and they seemed quite interested at first, but then they were like, nah, it's not for us.
I don't want any kind of underwear that was made by Mickey Rooney.
It sounds perverted.
That's disgusting.
He then paid a visit to Franklin Mint, the company. They make like commemorative coins and collectible type things. And he's like, why don't you mint coins with my face on them? Clark Gable, Spencer Tracy, Jimmy Cagney. And they say, hey, we did it. It didn't work. So they're like, no. And he's like, I doubted that. Well, that's what they said.
Well, it's a dumb idea.
He also claimed he pitched an idea for an MGM musical clip movie to Jack Haley Jr. at MGM. And that was turned down. Months after it was rejected, Jack Haley Jr. called him to see if he wanted to do VO on a musical clip movie called That's Entertainment. Now, I saw this movie like a bunch of times on cable TV as a kid, and I loved this movie. It's basically every MGM musical, just clip after clip after clip. And I was like, I was like, this is the best movie ever. He's the voiceover on this movie. He takes the gig because he's desperate, and he continues inventing things. So the next thing he invents is a round hot dog with a hole in the middle that you could put on a hamburger bun.
Ew.
It's called a weenie whirl.
No.
Yes.
So why does it have a hole in the middle?
I don't know.
Like a donut?
He says he set up Mickey Rooney's Weenie World franchise with 2 stores in New Jersey and Long Island. The Weenie Whirls had mustard in the middle of the O, and then there was variations to put different stuff in the middle of the dog. Cheese was called a Yankee Doodle, relish a McLish, sauerkraut an Eric Von Weenie, chili a Poncho Weenie, onions a Marco Weenie, and raisins and pineapples a Surfboard Weenie.
That is disgusting.
Now, there was a very famous fake menu that went around like 10 years, like a long time ago, where it was Mickey Rooney's Potato Restaurant. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
First, I got very excited about it, but then I realized it was a fabrication, but a good fabrication.
Yeah.
So he really was in this restaurant world.
Raisins and pineapple?
That's too far. And I'm not a hater of either of those things.
In the right context.
In the right context. But raisins and pineapple on a hot dog?
That's disgusting.
That is gross.
Also, there's nothing wrong with the hot dog shape as it is. I don't want a hot dog in a round shape.
Why is it grosser
in a patty? It's so disgusting.
So he also developed a soda with Canfields of Chicago. It was melon flavored. Mickey Melon. He developed a Sambuca drink called Thirst. The slogan was "Thirst come, thirst served."
Ew.
I can't. That was really hard to say. Thirst come, thirst served. That's a bad slogan.
Yeah.
A carbonated tea, according to him, before Lipton ever thought of it, called Thirst Tea.
Wow.
And he's like, and I also was really good at just writing slogans for other companies. He wrote one for Anheuser-Busch, and he wrote to them and suggested, "Be beer wiser, bud. Drink Budweiser."
That is a terrible slogan.
He's like, "You've heard that one? You haven't? Oh." That's how he wrote it in the book. But Caroline was sick of his get-rich-so-quick schemes and filed for divorce in 1974. Honestly, this is one of the best reasons to divorce your husband. Because keep wanting to do dumb get-rich-quick schemes.
I'd be embarrassed. I'd be like, you're embarrassing.
It's like, go get a job. I'm sick of fucking Wiener World or whatever it's called. Like,
he probably would have thrived in the TikTok influencer era, though.
Yes.
Because he's just annoying enough, and like he could have gotten a following of other annoying people, and he's just like very, animated. He could be like
for sure,
someone annoying on TikTok.
And honestly, good for her, because she's like 23 now, and it's like, it must be
Don't
hard to
waste
stand up
your
to your
20s with Mickey Rooney.
Yeah. They go to the divorce lawyer office, and he's like, "Why, Carolyn? Why?"
Because you're not in your prime either anymore. You're a has-been, and you're old, and like you're not that hot.
And he's like begging her, and she just shakes her head, and she's like, "No." Good for her.
Is he sober at this point?
I'm
he's
not quite sure what I feel like his sobriety was like pills, but not necessarily alcohol.
Wait, what do you? Oh, he was sober.
I think he got
off of
barbiturates, but not.
So he's not. Yeah, he's not treating the underlying issue. Desi.
Well, I don't. Yeah, that's his ongoing theme. So yeah, he basically goes home. He's like, "What do I do now?" Well, it's the 70s, so what he did now was get on Quaaludes. So he gets on Quaaludes. He numbs himself. He moves back to Hollywood. He's begging this very popular agent, Ruth Webb, to help him get back on top. And he actually moves in with her. It's not like sexual, because she's like much older, but she's like, "I'll get you." People live in her house. She kind of has a bohemian lifestyle. And she's very famous for throwing these wild parties with like eclectic guest list. At one of these parties, Rooney's oldest son, who is a musician he's Mickey Jr., He's a musician now, and he's dating this woman he brings to the party named Jan Chamberlain. She is an aspiring country singer. According to Lertzman, they're engaged, but Jan will later say they were just friends. But before long, while Mickey Jr. is away on a music gig, Mickey Sr. and Jan get together. They become a couple.
No.
Now, she is 18 years younger than him, so he's getting better. I think she's like in her late 30s and he's like in his
But that's
late
your
50s.
son's
Well,
girlfriend.
Yeah, that's beside, that's not including that. Now, she also has 2 sons, teenage sons, Chris and Mark. And, so that means he kind of has these guys in his life now too. And in 1979 People Story, Chris says that he and Mark were both troublemakers when his mom met Mickey. And Mark later says about his mom, she was always trying to be a singer, always after fame, always trying to date people, and had this history of troubled relationships.
So was Mickey Jr. just like, okay, date my girlfriend?
I mean, they clearly have a conflict about how serious it was because he says they were engaged. So I don't think he's like not happy about it. But I think, a lot of people still rely on this connection with the famous dad to get things. So, I mean, I guess it's a conflict for him. So, obviously, even though Mickey is really low at this point, Jan is like on welfare with 2 kids. She's not bringing anything. So there's this possibility that things will get better with Mickey, even though he's the one who moves into their rental home in Sherman Oaks. Now, he does start getting some more work at this point. He becomes kind of like a Disney guy. We talk about this dark Disney period in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
And he's a part of that. He stars in Rachel's Man, Pete's Dragon, probably the most famous one, and The Magic of Lassie. Then he does get a truly big break. Francis Ford Coppola wants to hire him to star or co-star in The Black Stallion. He's playing a former jockey.
He's not even a jockey. He's a former jockey.
He's a former jockey called out of retirement to help this boy win this race.
I remember this movie.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw it, but I definitely remember it. And he's like, gee, I don't know. I never played a jockey before. Ha, ha, ha. Much like playing a jockey, another role he is well-versed in is being a husband, and he does get married to Jan in 1978. She says in People in 1979, being married to Mickey is like a game of chess. I'm not sure who will win. It'll probably be a stalemate. And Mickey, in his biography or memoir, says, ever since I started going with Jan, it's been one big joyous fight. The reason we don't part, the fight isn't over yet. So doesn't sound like the best basis for a relationship. And it really gets ugly. So
especially when she can be like, well, your son did it like this.
Yeah, I bet you that caused a few fights. Now, eventually he does get more money together because he's starting to work more, and he starts taking them to dinners, the kids, the boys. It doesn't seem like many of his kids are in his life at this point. And, he takes them to horse racing, golf, etc. Soon after getting married, he gets called to appear in a burlesque sketch Broadway show that he first rejects since it's burlesque. He's like, burlesque is dead. His wife convinces him to hear the producers out, and Mickey is nervous. He's not really nervous about doing the show. He's more nervous about Broadway because he's never done Broadway before. This would be his Broadway debut, and he's kind of wondering if the community will accept him. His co-stars, if he accepts this role, will be Ann Miller, Ann Jillian, and Jerry Orbach. So pretty stacked cast. And the show is called Sugar Babies. So he does take this role, and his fears are pretty much quelled on opening night, October 8th, 1979. He says the curtains open. He is not facing the audience. So he has this brightly colored patches on his, shoulder, a battered top hat, that whole look, the vagabond. His face beneath this hat slowly turns around, and the audience sees that it's Mickey Rooney, and the applause begins. And he's like, the whole theater was on its feet, clapping its damn head off for 24 minutes.
Well, I don't know about you, and I think a lot of people feel this way. I love like a child star come back like as an adult, where you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
look at that. And I'm not saying like Mickey Rooney. I'm like, oh, I love Mickey Rooney. I just mean like that's always kind of like an exciting thing to see.
Yeah.
Like when you realize that was Donnie Wahlberg in The Sixth
Oh,
Sense.
right.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
somebody like in a different context, like many years later.
Well, it's such a famously difficult transition.
Right.
And it goes so wrong for so many people that it is, I feel like in general, most people are rooting for these child stars to succeed.
Yes.
So
Like when they've been like kind of gone for a long time.
right.
To see them like
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
an adult in some like big role
Yes.
that's like applauded is always kind of exciting.
Yeah. So people seemed really excited about this. I don't know how out of the public mind he was at the time. It's hard to say because it does seem like he's always been working, but maybe it wasn't just at this level.
I think it can also work when they've been doing crap for
Yeah.
many years and then they get like a more prestigious role.
Yes. Yeah. It's hard to like gauge someone's cultural impact when you didn't really live through it.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
Because it's like we know who he is and we have our ideas of him. And it's like he could come right back now and I wouldn't be that excited. I mean, he would be coming back from the dead. So it's a little more exciting. But you know what I'm saying? If you don't have a connection to someone, it's hard to see like their comeback as being exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I mean, I can recognize it intellectually, but I don't have the emotion.
Right.
Like I would maybe, you know, going to see an artist like Taylor Dane or something like, or like whatever, some person I liked when I was younger and like, oh, they're back. Like, even though she's not as big as him, like just
that's a weird pull.
I don't know where that came from.
Taylor Dane.
I'm just trying to think of someone like you.
Debbie
like,
Gibson.
Debbie Gibson. Yeah, that would be better. Like someone coming back.
Because Taylor Dane, how many hits did she even have?
But it would be funny to see her have a big comeback of all people.
It would be funny. It would be very unusual. I'm trying to think of someone who was like a child or a teen idol.
Yeah.
And they suddenly have some big break in much later in adulthood.
Right. I think the key is like, I would love to have someone where you're like, don't even recognize them.
Yes.
Almost. And you're like, oh my God, that's the kid from whatever TV show in the 90s. It's hard because with modern internet, people don't ever really go away.
Now they don't.
Yeah.
But there are still people who like obviously haven't been working or like they're, I mean, I don't know. Like just somebody from like a sitcom, suddenly they like get or somebody who struggled.
Yeah.
Too.
I think someone who struggled, that's always a good comeback too.
Yeah.
Because they left because of some addiction or some other struggle.
And I think also we like to see like a renaissance of actors who maybe they didn't have a struggle, but like suddenly they're back and stuff, or they finally get like the big role you always knew they should have gotten.
Like someone like Macaulay Culkin
could
have a big comeback. Right?
Or like Sean Hannity, even though he's been steadily working, it's like I feel like he's finally getting like his flowers with his role in The Pit.
Yes. Or someone like even Brittany Snow is like having a year.
Because she's doing something different than she hadn't done before. Like she's taking these like more like adult
But she's
roles.
and
she is in a lot of stuff.
She's in a lot of things this year.
Right.
Like big cultural like things that people are talking about because she's in the Murdaugh Murders too.
She's in a lot of limited series.
So anyway, so this Broadway show, it's a hit. They go out. He says they go out to a disco after, and I'm assuming it's Studio 54 because the people who are there could only be Studio 54.
Yeah.
And it's why, to me, Studio 54 is so iconic and can never be replicated.
Yeah.
Because it's literally like old Hollywood stars, Barbara Walters, Rita Hayworth, Shirley MacLaine, Gloria Vanderbilt, and he says a fey little blonde guy with a camera, Andy Warhol. Like that's just a mix. He gets really positive reviews for this as well. Because these are like old school 60-year-old burlesque routines that have been repurposed into this Broadway show. I've never seen Sugar Babies, but I definitely have heard of it. So there are a bunch of like kind of sketches, and people are, you know, saying he's kind of the top banana of the show. Sugar Babies. Rex Reed wrote, "If burlesque or even vaudeville was ever this good, then we were dumb losers to let it go." And then he adds this review from the New Yorker. Brendan Gill says that Mickey Rooney is among the 3 or 4 greatest men of the 20th
Oh
century.
my God. That is
I don't know about that.
That's
what it's like. What are you doing?
of the 20th century, the top 3 or 4 men?
Like Einstein, Mickey Rooney, whoever else, Thomas Edison. I don't know.
He wasn't the 20th century.
He didn't leak over.
I would Mickey
leaked over.
I mean, that is crazy to say that Mickey
It's
Rooney
like,
is one of the.
Maybe you could say it about acting.
You could say
I wouldn't
child
even
stars.
necessarily agree with that.
No, I would say child stars. I'd say, okay, that's fair. Because like when I think of child stars from the golden age of Hollywood and like old Hollywood, like I think of Mickey Rooney.
I mean, he's definitely, you can't take that away from him.
You can't take that
He
away.
was very successful. Like it's like him, Shirley Temple, Judy Garland, right? Like
Right.
they're like up there. So yeah, of course he had to add that one. I like when people add something and they're like humble about it. It's like, well, you didn't have to add it. Because if you're truly humble, you would have been like, that's ridiculous. I'm not putting it in. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So this is literally the hottest ticket in town. And we're talking a time when on Broadway we have Evita, Sweeney Todd, Annie, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. So that's saying something. His face is on the cover of Life magazine now. He's making $65K a week on the show.
What?
Yeah. And he gets nominated for an Academy Award for Black Stallion.
What? He did?
Yeah. That's his second nomination. And soon he's going to be back on TV. A TV producer named Alan Landsberg comes to him with a script about a man with an intellectual disability named Bill Sachter who spent 46 years in an insane asylum in Minnesota and survived and eventually gets released by the state welfare department. And like, it's like a big story. This guy, even though he didn't have autism, served as an inspiration for the character of Raymond Babbitt in Rain Man. So he gets an Emmy and a Golden Globe for this role. It co-stars Dennis Quaid. And he also gets an honorary Oscar in 1983. He says
For
that
what?
it's an honorary one.
They're just like, you're
It's
cool.
like a lifetime achievement, I guess, right? So he obviously doesn't win for Black Stallion. He says in his book that no less a thespian than Laurence Olivier called him the best there has ever been.
Come on.
About what?
About what? At losing all your money to gambling?
So everything is coming up, Mickey. And we will be back after the break to see if God forsakes him again. We'll see. We don't know.
We don't know.
So a lot of the information in the second half is from an in-depth investigative reporting that was done in The Hollywood Reporter by Gary Baum and Scott Feinberg. So I just wanted to give them a shout out here. So as I mentioned earlier, Jan had her own ambitions and began to be frustrated that Mickey was having all the success, but she still wasn't. She would submit audition cassettes to places like The Tonight Show and just get all these polite rejection letters.
So she thinks I'm Mickey Rooney's wife.
Yeah.
I should be famous too.
Get me on with Johnny Carson.
Well, what does she do again?
She's like a singer, a country western singer. I think she's just like, she wants to be famous.
Well, she should have. It's too bad she wasn't in the TikTok, Instagram era either. She could have been.
So Rooney's ex-agent, Robert Malcolm, said about her, Mickey was a star, Jan was not. Jan had a great need for being at the center of things, and that made me uncomfortable.
That is so mean.
It is, but I definitely get that
I
feeling.
totally get that.
So after he has this huge success with Sugar Babies and his other little successes, according to those around them, Jan kept pushing her husband to leverage his newfound fame and influence to increase her own fame. His daughter-in-law, who was married to Mark, Jan's son, her name is Charlene, she said Mickey was offered a part in a Muppets movie, and she said to Mickey, you call that producer and you tell him that I'm going to be in that or you're not going to do it.
Come on.
So cameos of both Mickey and Jan were shot for this movie, and hers got cut. So
That's embarrassing.
Good for the producers.
Can you imagine if I did that to Brendan? Like every time he got booked in a movie or a TV show, I was like, well, if I can't be in it,
It's so
then you
embarrassing.
shouldn't take it.
How do you at least try to subtly manipulate them into coming up with it on their own? Don't out and out say it. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't get why people aren't more embarrassed about things. She would also script his phone calls when he would talk to press and whoever about things, and she would one of her son Mark found papers of these notes that she would pass to him at some point, and this is in the Hollywood Reporter, saying things like, Jan is the singer in the family. I never really felt married until I married Jan. How she's put up with me all these years, I'll never know. I may not have $1 million, but I have $1 billion wife. So she's writing to him to say these lines to people. Is so fucking embarrassing. She would also insist on autographing photographs that were handed to Mickey.
Oh my God. I'd be like, you ruined my autograph.
It's so embarrassing.
If I was the fan who...
Yeah. And she would lean in too if they took photos. She would photobomb. And Mickey was always pushing her to get roles in things he was working on because, of course, she was pressuring him and he probably felt like he had to. And she just craved the limelight. Now, shortly after getting married, in the early 80s, both Chris and Mark, her sons, began working for him. Chris was a driver initially, and Mark became their chef. He sent Mark to chef school to learn how to cook. Then they both became paid assistants. And Chris would say in an interview, "This is something I loved doing. Imagine going to Sugar Babies and being in the dressing room with all those girls undressing in front of you."
Ew.
I know. It's he's a little too old for this kind of, it's not like he's 5 and he's oh my goodness, naked women. He's an adult. So he gets married eventually to a woman named Christina. They move out, and Mark still kind of lives with his mom and Mickey for a while. But by the 90s, both of these boys are kind of trouble. Both of them are heavily into drugs, both heroin and cocaine. I think Chris was more the cokehead, and Mark was into heroin. And they weren't well. In 1996, Jan actually reaches out to Geraldo Rivera about Mark's drug addiction, and he offers to pay to get him treatment if they agree to go on the show and talk about it.
That is disgusting.
So he goes on to an upscale treatment facility in Nashville, and a person who was there with him at the time is Chris Farley at the same addiction treatment center. He said that one thing Chris said at one of the meetings was, "My idea of a party is a large pizza, a bottle of Jack Daniels, and a gram of Coke." That's
a gram?
Is that a lot?
No.
Well,
I don't believe it. This is a false statement. Coke addict would never say a gram of Coke.
How much is a lot?
I don't know. At least you would say an 8-ball. You would say, even though you can do more than that if you're really about it. I just would have never heard
a gram is small?
Yes, that's what normies do.
Oh, okay.
They're buy a gram and it lasts them a fucking week, or they share it with a bunch of people.
Right.
This is a fraudulent statement. This is made up. I don't believe it, and I also think it's very tacky that they, if this was said in a group, that's very tacky. They would repeat that.
Well, so after he gets out of this facility, he goes on Geraldo's show, and he's with his mom and his other brother. Soon after, he goes to an aftercare program in Florida, and he's working. He's focused on his sobriety. But Mickey, he's not hearing from his mom or his brother, but Mickey is constantly calling him all the time. "When are you coming back? You're better now. Come back, come back." So he wants to visit, but he doesn't have the money for a plane ticket. And Jan constantly blocks Mickey from providing the funds to buy him a plane ticket. When he finally earns enough to return on his own, he's shocked when he said something had happened. Jan and Chris were all of a sudden running the show.
Uh-oh.
So in 1996, Mickey files for bankruptcy again, and it appears that this is when things start getting really sinister. So there's 2 sets now. I just want to make it clear. We have Chris and Christine and Jan on one side, and her son, Mark, his wife, Charlene, and Michael Augustine, who is Rooney's attorney and I think at some point becomes a conservator for him. So they're 2 separate sides.
So Chris and Mark, those are
the brothers.
Those are Jan's kids.
Yes.
Mickey's stepkids.
Yes.
And they're all adults now.
Yes.
And they're married. Chris
Yes.
is married to Christine.
Yes.
That's confusing.
Chris and Christine.
And then
yeah. And Charlene and Mark.
Okay.
So
And they're taking sides of the parents.
right. So they're Mark, Charlene, and Michael Augustine, the attorney, are saying that Rooney, after declaring bankruptcy in 1996, was told erroneously by Chris that his pensions from SAG-AFTRA Actors Equity had been cashed out and he would have to work to keep his home and health and medical benefits. Jan and Mickey's manager at the time put together a review for her and Mickey to perform together called Let's Put on a Show, and Chris begins booking them at venues of varying prestige across the country. So Mickey is being put to work with Jan as his co-star.
And he's like in his 80s now, right?
Yep.
This is...
Well, he is almost, he's like in his late 70s.
Okay, but he's old and he's
fucking old.
He should be getting money from SAG-AFTRA
He should be retired if he wants to be. So Mark says that Rooney has a breakdown while in Australia filming 1998's Babe, Pig and City.
Pig in the City? Wait.
Babe, Pig in the City.
Who was filming that?
Mickey Rooney. He's in that.
He is?
Or maybe does he play an animal?
Wait.
I don't know.
Is he in Babe, Pig in the City?
Well, yeah, according to this Hollywood Reporter. So I believe them. It's not like Mickey saying it.
Well, no. But that's just funny.
It is funny. I've seen that movie too and I don't remember.
Yeah.
But if he was in Australia, he must be physically in it. Because they could have just voiceovered in America. Anyway, after he has this breakdown, he gets put on some psych meds, and his mom, Mark is saying his mom begins administering them and she doesn't know what she's doing.
Oh, God.
So according to Charlene, Jan said, I have to keep him high to be on stage and I have to keep him quiet and subdued when he's at home. So she's using these in a nefarious way, according to them. Now, someone who worked with Rooney on Black Stallion ran into him in Toronto after he had done some kind of theater thing that seemed way below his abilities. And she's like, I think he felt embarrassed. So he's doing this embarrassing show with Jan. In 2004, Mark sees Mickey in Branson, Missouri, where Chris had booked Mickey and Jan for a gig. And Mark says he found Chris already positioning himself to have Rooney's money and persuaded Mickey and Jan to move out of their home in Sherman Oaks to a crappy rental home in Westlake Village. He also says that Chris was on the phone shopping for new Porsches, and he heard the guy say that he needed to check Chris's credit and paperwork. And he goes, you got to check my fucking credit. I'm a fucking millionaire. What are you talking about? And I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on here?
They're hoarding money.
Yes. Another episode that disturbed Mark even more was, according to him, Chris came in and goes, Mickey, I'd like you to sign this. We're going to go for 2 months and we're going to go here and we're going to do this. And Mickey said, wait, Chris, I don't want to sign it right now. Why don't you come back later? And Chris says, just sign it. Come on, sign it. And Mickey said, Chris, no, I don't want to sign it right now. And he goes, just sign the thing, you fucking piece of shit.
Oh my God.
Mark and Charlene move in with Mickey and Jan in 2006, several months after having a family trip to the Telluride Film Festival where Mickey was being honored. Chris told somebody at Telluride, Mickey Rooney works for me. I don't work for Mickey Rooney. And Charlene added that Mickey grabbed me by the arms and said, look at me. You have to promise me that you and Mark are going to help me. I can't take it anymore. Now, family members and Mark Augustine told the Hollywood Reporter that this arrangement continued for years, and Chris was committing his stepfather to performances, appearances, interviews in return for cash payments in which he would take the money and not give it to Mickey Rooney.
He's doing a lot of elder abuse.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Chris also got Mickey to have him as a sub-account holder on all of his accounts. So he was a signatory and authorized user on everything. And in 1998, Chris was installed as a 49% partner in his production company. Now, at this time, Mickey Rooney's home repeatedly was refinanced to withdraw equity, and Chris would then come to own 2 Mercedes, a Porsche, and 4 houses worth over $2 million, which is a lot at that time. Now, the Hollywood Reporter also obtained a Wells Fargo statement that showed that Rooney's monthly pension and Social Security payments, which totaled $11,000 a month, were deposited into an account accessible by Rooney, Jan, and Chris. And those amounts that would get deposited were almost immediately transferred into other accounts, including one named Tiana, which was the name of Chris's daughter.
Oh my God.
So obviously, Chris denies all of this. Mark and others said that Chris and Jan both took full advantage of Jan, and Chris even kind of turns on his mom at some point and lets them live in relative squalor. Um, the toilets are filthy. Rats are in the house where Mickey and Jan live. Meanwhile, down the road in like a 5-bedroom house, Chris and Christina are kind of living it up in a nice house. Jan writes to Chris in an email in June of 2010 that the Hollywood Reporter obtained saying, "It's very possible we're going to have to go our separate ways," citing an incident in which she alleged that Chris slammed a car trunk on her head. And expressing concerns that Chris's attitude, she said, "Your hate is buried so deep." Charlene said she spoke, like at some point, Chris fires all the accountants who are working for Mickey. And Charlene said that she spoke with one of these, and she said to her, "I'll tell you this, you're never going to get them. Call an elder abuse lawyer." So Chris and Jan also enter into business dealings with two wealthy men who pay them for access, basically. One of them, who is Michael Schrimmer, a glow stick entrepreneur from Chicago.
Glow stick
I don't know what that is, but if it's what I think it is, it sounds very funny. He pays tens of $1,000s to Chris and Jan to accompany Rooney to a dinner at Steven Spielberg's home.
So
and like
he pays for the chance to have dinner with
yeah,
Mickey
he's
Rooney.
like, "Take me and I'll give you 20 grand." So
and Mickey doesn't
hobnob.
see any of that.
No. These men, like another one is like some guy who Mickey performs at his daughter's wedding and they get paid for that. They also produce the Rooneys, a never like seen the air reality show pilot about the zany family life of the Rooneys.
I need to see this.
I know. I wonder if we can get access to it. This is August 2009. The first scene in the sizzle reel is like they're on the Sony lot, which is the formerly the MGM lot, and it's Jan berating Rooney in her mind for foolishly passing on roles of successful films. So she's like, "Heaven Can Wait, Dances with Wolves," and then Chris is like in the SUV and he's like, "Cocoon," and she's like, "Another movie he gave up." The list goes on. And Rooney is like on the verge of tears and his face is red and his he's like mad. So at some point, Mark and Charlene, in order to help him, get his permission to start selling some of his possessions on eBay. This is like small money stuff. We're not talking about a ton of stuff here or like very valuable stuff. Of course, Chris is like, "They're taking his money." And someone is like, "Well, that's like 20 grand. You've stolen millions. Like,
Yeah.
So maybe take a seat." And they also had Rooney's permission. So he's like literally trying to get money and food to survive at this point. So Rooney, he's the first to acknowledge, like in his book, that he has this ego and he has like impatient, that he's a pain. He talks about in his memoir, "Sometimes I mistreat Jan, sometimes she mistreats me too." But in the couple's final years together, I mean, it's clearly it's Jan at this point who's doing pretty much all of the mistreating.
Right.
Charlene talks about a particularly disturbing incident where Rooney accidentally tracked dog feces through the house and Jan like picks it up and smears it on him. And she's, of course, like denying that. So according to those close to Rooney, these fights are not just verbal abuse. There's also like unexplained physical things he's suffering. He often has black eyes. He has teeth missing. People will come in and find him fallen at the bottom of the stairs, just lying there for whoever knows how long. Like,
this is horrible.
Yeah. So they do file reports with local police, but it doesn't really get followed up on because Jan pleads with them to like not go through with it. So eventually people are like, "We're not going to allow this. Like, you're not going to be hitting him. Like, we got to draw the line somewhere." And she'll say to them things like, "Get used to it. I hit him because it's the only way he learns. It's like by hitting him like a kid." Well, you shouldn't hit a kid. So this guy, who kind of works for the conservator at some point, he like sees Chris get into a car and gets so upset Mickey gets so upset at the sight of his stepson that he drops down to the floorboards of the vehicle, like while he's in the car, and starts to cry, shake, and he actually soils himself, and this guy has to clean him up. When Chris is told about this, he's like, "That's ridiculous. Mickey has a problem soiling his pants all the time. Like, it's not because of me." In 2011, Mickey files suit against his stepson, Chris, and his wife, Christina, and he goes in to testify in front of Congress at the age of 90 on this subcommittee about elder abuse.
Oh my God.
So he says in his statement, "Unfortunately, I'm testifying by the committee today, not just as a concerned citizen, which we all should be, but as a victim of elder abuse myself. For years, I have suffered silently, unable to muster courage to seek help that I knew I needed. Even when I tried to speak up, I was silenced. It seemed like no one believed me, but I never gave up." So these legal battles will be ongoing for a while. Like, one thing he does do is formally separate from his wife, Jan. In this 2013 separation, like some kind of court date, she's like sobbing and saying that she took the initiative to file it, saying she couldn't deal with it anymore with the fights. So I said, maybe we just need to take a break to see if we can work through this. But this is a complete lie. Like, Mickey filed this to get away from her.
Mm-hmm.
On April 6, 2014, Mickey dies of natural causes after being found unresponsive during an afternoon nap. TMZ breaks the news before anyone can even notify their children.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
TMZ.
Yeah.
And within hours, Jan and Chris try to claim Rooney's body and began granting interviews. Now, obviously, he is one of the top movie stars of all time. He dies poor. His estate is worth $18,000.
Oh my God.
His lawyer said if he had been managed properly, I think he could have been in the neighborhood of someone like Paul Newman, easily worth hundreds of $1,000,000. Biggest crime here was not stealing the money, because Mickey could have made that back. The biggest crime was they turned Mickey into a dog and pony show, and nobody wanted to have anything to do with him. So after his death, Jan, Chris, and Christina are living off of his pensions. And this is literally the last thing Mickey wanted. He told his lawyer, he's like, and the lawyer said, to be honest, his direct statement was, "I don't want that cocksucker to get a nickel." So Chris claims poverty during this, when this article came out in 2015. And he's like, "I live in a small tract house. He also has a small home in Waikiki. And that's where he works as director of operations at the Burn and Love Elvis impersonator show." Sorry. And he says to the Hollywood Reporter, "I tell my wife, 'I'm sorry, honey, you can't go to Taco Bell today. I don't have enough money.'"
What happened to the houses this guy had?
I mean, he's a liar. So, now, despite this legendary career, no Hollywood stars are invited to his funeral to eulogize him or anything.
Why?
Except for one.
Oh.
And you'll never guess who that one guy is.
Trent Reznor.
Well, that's a good guess.
Is it?
No.
Who
I mean, it's a good guess because it's
just
up there in wild.
Well, I just thought of who would be the weirdest celebrity to be at his funeral.
It's Mickey Rourke.
Is it because his name is Mickey?
Well, apparently he received a fan letter from Mickey Rooney 3 decades earlier when his career had just started. And he was very touched by it, saying he grew up, watching his stuff, etc.
He saw Angel Heart.
Yeah. No, Mickey said he grew up watching Rooney. I do think he said, "Hey, another Mickey."
I know, but Mickey Rooney sent him the fan letter.
Yes.
I know, because he probably saw Angel Heart.
Oh, he probably saw Angel Heart. Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I like that movie.
I like it too. But he never wrote back to Mickey. And then he ends up meeting Mark, Mickey's stepson, at a tattoo parlor on the Sunset Strip. And he's like, "Oh, you got to meet my dad," or, whatever. But then Mickey died before that meeting could happen. And Rourke said, "Oh, shit, I owe it to him to go to his funeral." So Mark and Charlene invite him and another mutual friend to an open casket private ceremony. The day before, they have 2 other small funeral services for other family members. They have to do all these separate funeral services. In a final indignity, his body had been refrigerated for 2 weeks after his death because family members were fighting over burial arrangements.
God.
I remember this. We might have, I guess it wasn't, we weren't doing the show yet,
Yeah.
but I definitely remember this. And Mickey Rourke says, it was a pathetic sight to see him in what looked like a fucking $85 polyester gray suit with his little hands folded, looking so tiny and all alone. I thought to myself, wow, after all he accomplished, all he did, the effort that he put forward. Told that Rooney's favorite wine was Manischewitz. Rourke bought a bottle, took a
Why?
slug. Whose favorite wine
That
is
is
Manischewitz? I'm
Jews don't
sorry.
even like Manischewitz.
That's like, I always thought of it like, I was like, this is a wine that kids can be like, I'll have a sip because it's so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he brought the bottle, took a slug, and left it in the coffin with him. Another friend laid down a horse racing form. Mickey Rourke said, I kissed him on the forehead, thanked him for the letter, and held his hand. It was cold. Well, why'd you do that? This is so weird. That I mean,
This is really
it's iconic behavior.
This whole thing is like the final indignity.
Yes. So at the time of his death, Vanity Fair called Rooney the original Hollywood train wreck, which is, I mean, I guess it's not the time, but it is kind of accurate. Like, this guy had a messy existence. I mean, and you never would think that he did based on his, movie roles and his,
right.
If you didn't know. And then the article ends on this paragraph. One of the biggest stars of all time, who remained aloft longer than anyone in Hollywood history, was in the end brought down by those closest to him. He died humiliated and betrayed, broke and broken.
That's so sad.
Isn't that sad? What a bit.
It is
Jan is.
So dark when your own family members take advantage of you like this. It's just so out of what? Out of greed, right?
It's like you were living a good life with access to him and his money. Do you know what I'm saying? He really was generous,
right?
And would have been whatever. But for what's going on with the wife and stepson? Like, that is a sick relationship.
It's sick.
Like, what is she doing? And then when she gets turned on too, it's like, good, honestly. Like,
is Jan still alive?
I don't, I meant to look that up. The other thing,
because she should be ashamed of herself.
The other thing mentioned in the article is that she had some kind of, I don't know if it was a tumor. I think she's still alive. Oh yeah, she's 87. She's old. So I guess it wasn't a brain tumor.
Apologize, Jan.
So people said, oh, she had this brain tumor which caused hormonal imbalances, and she was getting dotty, like didn't know what she was doing half the time, which could be partially true. And Chris maybe took advantage of that too. But I think she was in on it before she got a little whatever.
Well, it seemed like it was kind of like her personality. Like, she just wanted Mickey for access and for what he could give her.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed like their relationship was built on that.
I mean, I'm definitely not giving her any sympathy.
And it's also like a sign of her moral character that she would like be in a relationship with the son and then be like, I'm gonna fuck your dad and then marry him.
She does. I have just opened up this other transcript where she's like, I never physically abused Mickey, but we had some minor pushing scuffles. I mean, I feel like if you're constantly making, well, maybe that happened when he pushed me first. It's like, well, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust her.
Why are you pushing a 90-year-old man?
I don't trust her. I think it's like elder abuse is like, it's so sad. Like, you hear, like when you hear about it, like.
Well, and I definitely remember his testimony because it was one of those things where it was like people weren't talking about elder abuse as a thing, and it definitely kind of brought it to the forefront. I think in a way, someone so famous admitting to it, because it is part of the problem is they feel so humiliated and embarrassed. They don't want to say anything. So that was pretty brave of him, I think, to admit what was happening to him.
It's definitely something like more people are aware of now.
Definitely. And the other thing is that another reason I really can't get with Jan is like, what your son, like if you weren't doing that, why are you standing by Chris?
Yeah.
Like, he was stealing money.
That guy is diabolical.
Yeah, he's pretty bad. He seems like a real scumbag. It's also like one of those things where it's like, if you were innocent, why are you acting like a dick?
Right.
Because if someone was accusing me of that, I'd be like mortified. I'd be like, I promise you. I'm like, I would show them all the receipts. And
Yeah.
like, how come you're defensive? It's like,
Right.
you're guilty. You fucking asshole. So yeah,
What
a sad ending.
What a
I'm
sad
sorry.
end. I mean,
I'm sorry. But I mean, crazy story.
what a wild life. I mean, he made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Yeah.
And he is, like you said, he is kind of like an original example of like your Hollywood child star disaster story.
But who kept having successes and comebacks.
He kept having comebacks. Yes.
And like he also was like, I read a funny article because he was on Full House in the 90s. He played like Santa Claus or something.
Oh my God, he did?
Yes. And Dave Coulier said that they used to call him the topper, which sounded dirty at first because I was like, wait, I don't want to know about that.
What?
But it was because anytime someone would say something, he would top it.
Of course he would.
So like John Stamos is like, oh, I'm playing with the Beach Boys. And he's like, oh, like I know the Beach Boys. Like anytime I played, so Coulier would be hockey. Oh, I used to play hockey. Like it was like always like he did something too, or he knew something.
Yeah,
more.
that
like,
sounds like him.
I was like 100%.
That
sounds like
so
him. I believe this story 100%. Like I know he's that guy.
I need to watch that Full House episode. That's really funny.
Yeah, I don't know what the character was, but he was when I saw the image, he was in a Santa suit. So I guess he did some TV in the 90s too. Anyway, we'll post some more pictures.
Yeah.
There's a very famous Vanity Fair picture of him and Jackie Coogan, I think, or Jackie Cooper that I'll post.
Okay.
It's kind of an iconic Vanity Fair image.
Wow.
And then we'll post some other pics.
Great series.
Thank you.
Who knows what I'm going to do next week, but I hope I can.
Fabulous.
I hope I can top that.
Well, at least you can. I feel bad because the episodes have been funny up until we had to end on such a downer. But what can I do? That's his life. We had that bullshit moment.
The bullshit. Thank God for
his inventions.
Thank God for whose ever book that was that you read.
Dude.
Save the day. Anyway, we will be back later with the mini episode, and subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Hollywood Crime Scene. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.